Hi, folks. Mark Allen, BHSpringSolutions LLC and BHSpringSolutions.com. We're back again for another session of High Power University. This session is being made for all BH veterans. Now, a BH veteran is anyone who has done business with BH Spring Solutions in the past or is otherwise a subscriber to our email newsletter. And this session is being made especially for our lady BH veterans, and keeping them in mind specifically. This is, I think, going to be a redemptive moment for a lot of our lady BH veterans, and we do have some, and we are always honestly, we're just always impressed. You know, when we talk to a lady BH veteran, and you know she is carrying a high power or using a high power for home defense, or and you know what, you would be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised that, you know, guy BH veterans outnumber lady BH veterans probably 200 to 1 maybe, but we have some, and we have some numbers of lady BH veterans as well. We've had woman involvement in BH Spring Solutions ever since really day one, when my partner Slav and I founded BH Spring Solutions, and in that context, this High Power University video is being made with special regard to our lady BH veterans, and specifically, I want to take this a little bit deeper. This tendency that we guys have, we're prone to this notion that women are impossible to understand, and you know, there's no way you can ever understand a woman, you know, just all this kind of stuff. What I want to share with, especially for the benefit of our lady BH veterans, this is probably a lot of projection. In other words, it's probably has very little to do with women. All right, it's sometimes when people are impossible to understand, and it's impossible to understand oneself, the human nature is to project that onto something else, you know, and women and men do that stuff to each other all the time. I'm just suggesting that I think possibly, you know, when we men do that, you know, about how women are so impossible to understand, maybe that's a lot projection, and I think it's a little more than maybe. So this is intended to have some humor to it, and you need to watch through the end of the video to really appreciate the humor that's involved here. Sometimes things happen in the course of business that you just don't see coming, but when you think about it, and you think about it a little more, it does really get humorous, and this is a moment that is, and in the course of, you know, our day-to-day, and I just wanted to make a quick video and share it, and you know, other people can have a chance to appreciate, you know, just stuff that happens, you know, and maybe women aren't as hard to understand as men, as we're going to see here in a little while. This is our latest Springfield SA-35 into the BH Custom Shop Service Department. It is number 22, and it is the highest serial number that we've seen so far, and that's the main reason why we've got some updates, because we have discovered some things in this one that are absolutely different than ones that have preceded it, the other 21 that preceded it into our shop. And we wanted to make sure that we had a recordation of this, and that we shared it with interested folks. And that's what this is really about. We're going to get right into that, what we've discovered. First thing, the frame of this one shows that it has had more attention in the areas of deburring than any that we have seen before. And I do want to say in this session, if you have not watched all the previous sessions about the Springfield SA-35 that we have published, some things are going to be not as understandable as if you're one of our BH veterans who has followed this, you know, from the beginning. But all of those videos, I believe there's 11, 12, 11, and a couple of updates since. that are all available at BHSpringSolutions.com and on YouTube. The things that we found different, you see the beaver tail here, and I want to enlarge that so we can get even a better view of it. This beaver tail has had some attention. It is not pointy, it is not sharp, and the edges are only moderately sharp. Not really even enough to be a big deal. The frame rails are what your slide interacts with or has relationship with when installed on the frame, and needs to have a good relationship with some margins so that the slide and the frame can interact and the gun can recoil and the way as it should. The frame rails by and large seem also not what we would consider sharp. We have one rear frame rail which is back in this area, and we did have an area on it that was kind of absurdly sharp. And so the frame on this one is going to get our deburring service, but at a modified approach, because there has been some deburring work done on this. The main thing we're going to be wanting to do is clean up this sharper, kind of jagged edges we've got on the one frame rail. But this is definitely different than what we have seen before, and so we'll modify our approach with a firearm like this one. Among the other things, one other thing that we found different in this SA-35 out of the factory, it has a different extractor part. It is not just a quote improved extractor or they did something different or whatever. This is a completely different part than what Springfield was shipping their pistols with in the beginning. And it's actually not even the same design. The original extractors in the SA-35 were, we would call it type 1 external extractor. This is a type 2 external extractor, and it actually has the provision for a sear lever spring for the drop safety sear lever that came out in the FNs and Brownings in 1989. There's no sear lever spring per se in this type 1 sear lever model, but it is a completely different part. It appears this is a superior part to what we saw in the earlier SA-35s, and however, it does, on the body of this extractor, it shows interaction with the the edges of the slide serrations where those meet the extractor channel. So there's obvious interference that shows on the extractor body itself where the bluing is rubbed away by those serrations. So we'll do our normal deburring service in there. The slide serrations are very sharp. Those require deburring. Again, as far as the slide itself and this area around the extractor, no real change in this one. The area of the ejection port here is also very, very sharp. It's not a safety razor, but it is sharp. And the other thing that we see that has not changed is we do see some kind of adhesive, and we will try to enlarge this and keep it in the screen. But you see this discoloration right here. This is some sort of adhesive that was used on this front sight, and this weapon has never been fired. It was sent to us. The BH veteran who purchased it brand new, and he's never fired it at this point. So there's not really too much to blame here on this. Actually, we did test fire this before disassembly for one magazine. But that is whatever adhesive that they're using. It tends to ooze out when it's subjected to heat. It really can start to sort of ooze out. But this one is going to get our complete treatment, and we'll be resolving that front sight, whatever that is going on. That'll get resolved. So in this particular SA-35, we'll be doing the same deburring process that we've always done on the slide, but we'll be doing a modified, shortened deburring process on the frame. and that, based on our experience with everything else that we've worked on the previous 21, we think we're going to have the right. We think we're going to have the right combination on this. We're sure we're sure we are, and that we're making the right decisions about this. This is not something we had not anticipated. In other words, when you've got some things that really necessitate some attention, in a firearm like this, obviously no manufacturer is going to leave those things unaddressed, and they have in the frame area especially, and they're really attempting here to make a difference with a different extractor part. No idea of the origin of that. It came that way, from the factory. So that's the complete update from here, and it was honestly quite noteworthy that what we found here is a frame that does have some attention to the deburring process, and it appears appropriately, but the slide is a lot, with the exception of the different part for the extractor that came from the factory. The slide is basically no different than the first 21 that we saw. So back to this bit about the SA-35's slide is not a straight razor. We were taking a close look at this, and I'm not at our shop today. Dave, our lead technician at the shop, he is there, and if you happen to have two sons, you can back me up on this one. If you have two boys, what one doesn't think of, the other one always will. And back to that thing about women being impossible to understand. Well, we guys, we don't really know why that's impossible to understand about guys, but it is impossible to understand. We don't know why it's true, and we can't explain it, and it's not possible for women to understand how true this is, that where one boy is present with another boy, and if they're around each other long enough, and if they're brothers, it's just it's just a given. What one doesn't think of, the other one will, right? My partner Slav and I, it's probably the only reason BHSpringSolutions even exists today is because what I don't think of, he does, and vice versa. So this bit about women being like impossible to understand, or whatever, again, I think this is a little bit projection, but we want to show you a quick video from our shop today, and this is Dave, our lead tech in the shop, and he was really taking a close look at this, and there was a moment of pause in what we were doing, and anyway, here we go.
Okay, so here I am with a customer SA-35. They sent it in for a full Springfield reliability kit and deburring service, and take care of all the sharp edges. So while I was doing the inspection, noticed a few places that were extremely sharp. One of those, these finger grip serrations on the slide, right? Those are probably a 7 out of 10 on sharpness right there. I mean, you could probably cut wire with that. The extractor channel edges are pretty sharp. What I really noticed was the top edge of the eject port. I thought that was like probably a 9 out of 10, and I tried to use it and shave like you would maybe a sharp knife, testing it. I was going to shave some hair off of my forearm, and I managed to cut myself with the that top edge. So I mean, it's not gushing blood or anything, but definitely that top edge is sharp enough to cut skin.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is to the lady BH veterans, okay, don't let this be your the way you judge whether or not to send your SA-35 to the BH Custom Shop Service Department or not, okay? Most guys, will look at this as, well, this could happen to anybody, right? And there's never, ever going to be an explanation to a lady about why any of us would try such a thing in the first place. So, anyway, it's true. The top of the ejection port on the SA-35s are pretty sharp, but they're not refined enough to make a good safety razor. Okay, going to dig up your skin for sure. So, anyway, folks, it has been enjoyable to record this update about the Springfield SA-35 is not a safety razor, and the explanations that have been in here. And to give you this update about the things that we are seeing that are unchanged and the things that we are definitely seeing that are changed. At the end of this servicing of this Springfield SA-35, we fully expect to have the same end result that we've been getting since we finished our evaluation and analysis of the SA-35 back in December. Folks, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a BH veteran. We do appreciate you very much. This is only possible because of you. And on behalf of my partner, Slav Baruchiev, and all of BHSpringSolutions personnel, I'm Mark Allen for High Power University and BHSpringSolutions LLC and BHSpringSolutions.com. Thanks, folks.